I was lying in bed next to him when I realized I'd become invisible. My name is Emma Hartley, and I live in Austin, Texas. 28 years old, graphic designer. For 3 years, I loved a man who stopped seeing me. His name was Ryan. And the night I understood how deeply he'd betrayed me, I was staring at the ceiling of our bedroom on South Congress, listening to him breathe beside me, wondering when exactly I'd disappeared. He was on his phone, again, smiling at the screen, again. When I asked who he was texting at midnight, he didn't even look up, just said work in that flat, dismissive tone I'd learned to hate. But I saw the name, Melissa, his coworker, the one he said I didn't need to worry about. My stomach twisted. Something was wrong, deeply, sickeningly wrong. And I needed to know the truth before it destroyed me completely. The next morning, Ryan left early, said he had a breakfast meeting. I stayed home, called in sick, and did something I'd never done before. I checked his laptop, the one he always left open on the kitchen table. My hands shook as I scrolled through his messages. And there it was, months of conversations with Melissa, flirting, planning secret meetups, talking about me like I was an obligation, a burden. He'd called me clingy and boring to her, said I'd let myself go, that he was just waiting for the right time to leave. They'd been sleeping together for 4 months, 4 months of lies while I planned our future. I closed the laptop, didn't cry, didn't scream. I felt something else, something colder, clearer. I realized I'd spent 3 years shrinking myself for someone who'd already left me emotionally. I'd gained weight because I was depressed, stopped doing my makeup because he said he preferred natural, quit my Saturday painting classes because he wanted me home on weekends, turned down a job opportunity in Seattle because he didn't want to move. I'd erased myself piece by piece, and he still chose someone else. That day, I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront him. I wasn't going to beg or cry or ask why I wasn't enough. I was going to disappear differently. I was going to become someone he'd never recognize, someone he could never have again. I started that afternoon, joined a gym 3 blocks from our apartment, hired a trainer named Marcus who pushed me harder than I'd ever been pushed. I started going at 5 a.m. before Ryan woke up, worked out until my muscles screamed and my mind went quiet. I changed my diet, meal prepped, drank water like my life depended on it. And slowly, my body started changing. But more than that, my mind did. I reached out to my old art professor from college, asked if there were any freelance opportunities. She connected me with a boutique branding agency downtown. They needed a senior designer. I interviewed, nailed it, got offered triple what I was making. I took it without telling Ryan, started working late nights, building a portfolio that was finally mine. At home, I became a ghost, polite but distant. I stopped asking about his day, stopped cooking his favorite meals, stopped waiting up for him. Ryan didn't notice. He was too busy with Melissa, too busy planning his exit. But I noticed everything. I saw how relieved he looked when I wasn't around, how his eyes glazed over when I spoke, how little I meant to someone I'd given everything to. 3 months passed. I'd lost 30 pounds, gained muscle and confidence. My work was getting recognized. The agency wanted to promote me to art director. My bank account was growing. I'd started painting again, selling pieces at a local gallery in East Austin. People were noticing me. Men were noticing me. But I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it for the girl I'd abandoned when I chose Ryan. Then came the night everything shifted. Ryan's company had a holiday party at a hotel downtown. He asked me to come. First time in months he'd wanted me anywhere public with him. I said yes, but I didn't show up as the Emma he knew. I wore a black dress I'd bought that week, form-fitting, elegant, expensive. I'd gotten my hair done, professional makeup. I looked like someone who'd walked out of a magazine, like someone who'd remembered she was powerful. When I walked into that ballroom, the room shifted. People stared. Ryan's jaw dropped. He didn't recognize me at first, and when he did, something changed in his eyes. Panic, regret, fear. Melissa was there, hanging on his arm. She looked at me like I was a threat, because suddenly, I was. Ryan's boss came over immediately, complimented my work, said he'd seen my designs for a campaign that had gone viral, asked if I'd consider consulting for their company. Ryan stood there silent, watching me charm the room he'd kept me away from, watching me shine in ways he'd convinced me I couldn't. Later, when Melissa went to the bathroom, Ryan cornered me. "Emma, you look incredible. What happened to you?" I smiled, cold, controlled. I remembered who I was before I met you. His face fell. "I've been thinking we should talk. About us. I think I've been distant lately." I cut him off. "Ryan, there is no us. There hasn't been for months. I know about Melissa. I've known." The color drained from his face. "Emma, wait." But I was already walking away, toward the exit, toward the life I'd been building in secret, the life he'd never be part of again. 2 weeks later, I moved out, took only what was mine, left the apartment we'd shared and got a loft in the warehouse district. Modern, minimalist, mine. Ryan called 47 times that week, texted, showed up at my new place, said Melissa had dumped him when she found out he was broke, that he'd made a mistake, that he loved me, that he'd changed. But I'd changed more. I'd become the woman he threw away, and she didn't want him back. 6 months later, my career exploded. Art director at 30, my painting selling out, featured in Austin Monthly. Ryan's life fell apart, lost his job. Melissa had been sleeping with his boss too, caused a scandal. Last I heard, he moved back to Dallas with his parents. I didn't gloat, didn't need to, because my revenge wasn't about destroying him. It was about building me. The me he said wasn't enough. The me who became everything without him. He ignored me and betrayed me, but while he was busy looking elsewhere, I leveled up so far he couldn't even see me anymore. And when he finally looked back, I was gone. Too valuable, too powerful, too far ahead. That's the thing about people who take you for granted. They don't realize what they had until it's thriving without them. And by then, it's too late. If this story hit you the way it hit me to live it, do me a favor and hit that like button. And drop a comment telling me what you would have done in my situation, because we all deserve to remember our worth. And hey, if you're new here at Venomous Revenge, subscribe, because karma always comes back around, and I've got a lot more stories to tell.